it's a contact sport. So if you're doing that, I think there should be severe consequences for doing that. So if Ryan do it, I mean, regardless of whether he's a cash cow or not, my personal opinion is he should be suspended for a significant amount of time, if not removed from the sport. All right, so let's jump in. We'll talk about the Ryan Garcia. Um, I'll go over it real quick. So I guess the latest was yesterday. Dan Raphael put out that via his source, I got it. Let's see. Ryan tested. First, Ryan was. I guess he failed his samples, or he failed his drug test. 2 drug tests. Um, One was on the day of the fight that they tested, and one was the day before. Um, and it was for 2 substances, but it came out this morning that the drug test, the second substance, which is 19 noranen endis, endostrone. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I totally shanked the name of that. But anyways, that was one of the substances, and apparently they're going to do more testing, but they don't think basically he's cleared of that substance. And then the the main substance, they're going to test him again. They're going to do the B sample on May 22nd. I guess the way it works is with the legal team, he is allowed to have a witness there when they open up the sample and oversee the second B test. I was reading the chances are that the B test will be positive as well. But I was also reading that the um, the ostarine is a substance that USADA has come out to say that there are supplements that have tested positive for that steroid, even though they're not listed on the label. And so they've warned athletes to test the supplements that they're taking. So hands down, if he did it, I've always been of the thinking that when you do, it's not like if you do it in baseball, you're just going to hit the ball further. You're actually punching a guy in boxing. I think if you do steroids in boxing, to help your speed, to help your power, you shouldn't be allowed to fight if you're truly found guilty. It's one of those things to where it's the hurt business, and you could kill a guy if you have that much of an advantage over a guy. So regardless if it's Ryan Garcia, Canelo, whoever's doing it, I mean, I know Canelo was cleared, and so it's just one of those things where it's a contact sport. So if you're doing that, I think there should be severe consequences for doing that. So if Ryan do it, I mean, regardless of whether he's a cash cow or not, my personal opinion is he should be suspended for a significant amount of time, if not removed from the sport. I mean, you look at Margarito when he cheated. Although they were able to get him back into the sport, his trainer was his trainer was removed from the sport. No longer allowed to train or be ringside for any fight after that. So it's serious business when you're doing steroids for boxing straight. So
right. Well, yeah, it's I mean, unfortunately, it's just become commonplace almost. You know what I mean? You don't know who's doing it until they're caught. And I don't know if everything's been definitive with his case yet. There other things are coming out now that the New York State Athletic Commission's backing up. It was such a minimal amount of of something, and I didn't read too deeply into it. It's just unfortunate that was found, if it is true completely. I mean, I know he's trying to exonerate himself, but let's see. It's there's been a lot of other guys that've been caught doing it, and it's one of those things, man. You're right. It's of any sport that's combat sport to give yourself an extra an extra push like that, an extra advantage, especially in boxing, where you're right, people can die, and it's dangerous, and but at the same time, it's not, unfortunately, like I said, it's not uncommon. So
Yeah.
right now, in the court of public opinion, I mean, they've already, strung up Ryan Garcia and whatnot, but he's yet, if he can exonerate himself, and they find out that those tests were tainted or whatever they may be, then he's in the clear. And if not, then yeah, I agree, he should be suspended. Um, a lot of guys do. I mean, it's you don't really think about it anymore. I mean, a few years back, Canelo tested positive for clenbuterol a couple of times, and supposedly it was tainted meat. And the boxing public has a short memory when it
Right.
comes to stuff like that. They'll investigate it. Ryan will say, no, you guys are all setting me up, and then whoever else will say, well, no, the tests were inconclusive, and that's another new one, inconclusive. So, I mean, hey, look, Connor Ben tested positive. What was it, 2 years ago already?
Yeah.
And no one's ever. I mean, they've been they supposedly they were going to clear that up a long time ago. I don't know again with his case. I'm not saying he's guilty or not, but if you're innocent, by all means, show us you're innocent. And I don't think it should be such it's a pretty cut and dry thing. You know what I mean? If you do it and you get caught, pay the fine and take the suspension. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's a no-win situation. I can understand too, because if you get caught dirty and you're dirty, then you'll either take a fine and a suspension for a year or two, and then people will forget about you, and then you'll come back around. You know what I mean? And start fighting again. So you know it's hard to say. You know what I mean? But it's definitely unfortunate. Is it a black eye on the sport? I guess you could say, but I mean, this sport has been beat to death. You can't kill boxing. You know what I'm saying? It's hey, wow, shocker! A guy tried to, get an advantage over, to win millions of dollars. It's, it's just one of those things, man. It's part of the sport now, and it's just whether or not the guys, are smart enough, or these new doctors and trainers involved now are smart enough to get around it and mask these drugs and make alternate ones that they haven't tested for yet. So you just never know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just, we like to think when guys go on runs and they look, um, extraordinary, and their conditions out of sight, they're just beating everybody up. You would hope it's not that. And if they never tested positive, then now it's the first time I've heard of Ryan Garcia ever testing positive for anything. So let's see what happens. I mean, we'll let him have his day in court
Right.
with it, and if he's found guilty, then he needs to take the fine, the punishment, and boxing will go on.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly, there's a long way to go. I mean, they're not actually going to open the sample till the 22nd, and then it could take what 7 weeks to do the testing. So it's a long way. One of the interesting things about Ryan was that there was a lot of people who hated on him before the fight, and I seem to notice that those people, as soon as he, as soon as he tested positive, then they jumped all over him. But Ryan was able to. What I find unique and what I find about his power that he realizes he has because of social media, he was able to get in there and flip the narrative real quick. and then he started putting blame on everybody else in a way that I haven't seen. So he was able to use social media, and he was making jokes about it. And it was the ashwagandha, vitamins that he was kissing and all that stuff. And he was able to get a lot more people. I noticed there's a lot more boxing social media people that were on his side right off the bat, and said that the whole thing kind of smelled, that the whole thing was kind of weird. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I was reading that the Austrian is, it takes a month to take effect. So why would he take it so close to the fight? Because he was tested so many times before and he was clean, and it wouldn't have actually had the effect on him at that point until after the fight, because of the time frame that he did it. So there's a lot of question marks that he threw out there, and then everybody jumped on. There's a lot of people who jumped on his bandwagon, and we're starting to question, why would he take this drug so close to the fight? It could have been tainted. He threw Victor Conti under the bus. That's a whole nother conversation with Victor Conti. And just did everything to come out and say that he was clean. And so we'll have to see, like you said, we'll have to see, and if he is, like you said, I agree, he needs to be suspended, go away for a little bit, from the sport of boxing. And it's disappointing because he is the next cash cow, whether you like him or not. Um, he has a massive following, and anytime
Right.
he
Yeah, he
fights,
does. He's got a massive social media presence, and
yeah. And
it's
boxing, money talks,
that's
right?
right.
Anyway, if
That's
you're
right, man.
if you're making people a lot of money, who's to say that he can't go out to Saudi Arabia in that time and get some fights out there? You know,
Yeah.
belts don't seem to matter to him. So
Well, they still haven't found him guilty yet, so I guess we'll wait and see.
no, not at
You
all.
know. So, and a lot of this could also be, a lot of reporters like to jump on rumors and before stuff is, definitive, because the New York State Athletic Commission hasn't suspended him and made that decision, overturned that decision yet, from what I know. So
No, they haven't. And they're in a little bit of a turmoil because the head of the athletic state commission stepped down. She resigned, for personal reasons, and so they're going through a bit of a transition. So I don't know if they,
right,
I don't know what they're up to on, with their transition, and maybe delaying everything and waiting for all the tests. But it's been weird because they've been eerily quiet, and so is Golden Boy. Oscar really didn't address it. He just said he's going to look at the facts, and they haven't. There's been no real statements from them, and it's just been handled a little different. Where Ryan,
right.
lead, yeah, he's taken the lead, and everyone else has kind of stepped back and let Ryan run with it. So, um, I mean, think about it. Any commission jurisdiction he comes into, that's a lot of money for that jurisdiction. It's just the
No,
way it is.
without a doubt.
So